Now it's come to the stand-up comedian, actress, writer, novelist and reality star Helen Lederer, who in the last 40 years or so, or is it 100, has appeared on any number of comedy programmes and series, notably playing Catriona in Absolutely Fabulous and all sorts of parts in Naked Video, as well as appearing in person on Celebrity Big Brother and Splash. That was a good one, wasn't it? And from stand-up... From stand-up to starting a literary award for female writers, Helen, you lived quite a life, which you've now recorded in your memoir, Not That I'm Bitter. So what is it you're not bitter about?
Right, yes. Well, do you find that an amusing, ironic title or literal? Because I'm waiting for a forensic interview, Clive. I know what you're like.
Oh, do you?
Yes, you go there. You do go there.
No, it's an ironic remark because you recount several incidents when things were perhaps not quite to your satisfaction. You say, not that I'm bitter.
Yeah, but if you're going to do a memoir in the autumn of one's life, you can't leave things out. But I'm not bitter. I mean, I'm actually quite excited about being nearly 70.
Yes.
And I think it's enjoyable going around the literary festivals now and actually having conversations with people where you were talking about working hard, Jess. I was fascinated with the younger generation here, but not trying now is so delightful. For the first time in my life, I'm engaging with my anecdotes and my concepts and my opinions.
But you've always been an anecdote teller in your performing. You'd say, oh, this...
Yes, and it wasn't very fashionable. I mean, Emma was slightly younger than me, but I have to get one over on her. And that's
Yeah.
But doing the stand-up and looking at the clips now where I am that woman on my own for 5 years just doing stand-up, I just can't believe I did it. But I wanted it so much. You know that thing when you start out and you just have that passion. Yeah. And I did do anecdotes and then people would I think people are only latterly analysing it. I just wanted it so much.
But are you somebody who is never going to be satisfied? Whatever you get, you'll always want. If you get a part in a sitcom, you think, I want to have my own sitcom.
Well, I never
if you
do
get a sitcom, I want to be in a movie.
I'm not a complacent person. Let's be frank. But I think it's quite nice to just keep going because not that I'm bitter, but obviously I'm very aware of my status in the hierarchy of showbiz. Mm. And when one meets people who are in the top, I've served the elites in a way to keep them there. Yes. And I'm aware that I've been lucky enough to be in certain shows, but I've always wanted to do my own thing at the same time.
There are some quite serious bits in this book, in amongst the jokes. Your father died at a young age, when you were young, and you say, well, had he not died, had he was still alive, I would never have tried to be a stand-up comedian because I wouldn't have wanted to disappoint him.
No, that's true. And I have a thing about when I know people who are in the audience, I kind of go, because I think you've just got to be free and to be authentic and to be comedic and not to think about what you look like and just to go with the timing and just to ooze love really for that audience. As corny as that sounds, you have to have love. Otherwise it doesn't work, for me anyway. It's so exposing. And there was one time when my mother, I was at the Donmar, my mother came with my sister and I was being in a therapy group at the time with 3 chairs, and there was supposed to be a silence at the beginning of the show, but that silence went on for a very long time, awkward silence plus, because I was furious they were in there. What if it's bad? And then as a parent you go, oh no, it's like being naked in front of your parents. Can you imagine that on stage? That was a very bad scenario.
No,
to conjure.
Yes, it's not one I seek out.
You've not gone there. No, nor me. But I do worry about these things. I think catastrophizing is quite fun.
Yes,
in terms of.
Well, you mentioned a lot of. There are some catastrophes, and there's love affairs you tell us about, and relationships you've had with people. Sometimes 2 at a time. So you're happy to sort of
bring that up. But the thing is, it wasn't with you.
I didn't write the book.
No, we have had good together. But the thing is, what's interesting about the reaction to the content, and somebody said, and have you felt shame, Helen? And I was thinking no, and then the intelligent interviewer from the broadsheet said, and do you feel angry? And I was saying, not until you brought that up. No. And so I think that I'm very discreet.
It's a very difficult path to lead, interviewing you, because it's going to be wrong whatever we say.
Well, yes, I always like to put somebody else down first because I'm used to being undermined and marginalised. But that's fine, not that I'm bitter. I can't believe I said that.
I'm going to ask you something about must be more up to date, because the last few years, 2 or 3 years, is it you started this award, this prize for witty work, comic work by women authors. Why did you think that was necessary, and how has that been as a thing to try and
Thank you, Clive,
organise?
for that question. So I wrote a comedy novel, and that was my first time of actually being happy and going to literary festivals, which is like stand-up comedy but with clapping. And I just found my note, and then I looked around for a prize to win, obviously, as you do, and there wasn't one. And so I set up my own. So this is called Comedy Women in Print. Pardon?
Did you win it?
Alas, I'm not allowed to win my own prize. It's so selfish. But anyway, so now, 6 years on, we have published, there are a lot of witty women who have become published, and there's a website, and we're going again in 2025. And it is wearing another hat where you have to be very nice and phone up agents who've chucked you in the past, or indeed who I've chucked. Let's not be wrong there.
You have an odd relationship. You have lots of bad relationships with agents over the years. What is it with you and agents? They're just there to represent you, to get...
I don't think that's always the case, but in those days, we're talking about when Emma did the wonderful intro for you, Jess, is, a polymath is now entirely acceptable. But in my day, people weren't used to people who had different skills. And so I've never quite found my note with agents because they don't know what to do with me. And I do have a problem with authority figures because Miss Abraham, my headmistress, accused me of cheating. I had cheated. She was correct. But I just have a problem with people who are superior to me in every way, and I get very undermined.
Yes. There's a slightly sad remark you make in the book where you say you really enjoyed yourself. It was a sketch you did at school, being David Frost,
Yes.
or sort of taking fun of it. And then you never quite recaptured that until speaking at the Budley Salterton Literary Festival,
Right.
40 years later.
Yeah, I think it was 50 years later, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I peaked at 10 by doing a sketch show. And then I waited 50 years, and then I thought, this is what it's like, writing my own material. And people, I love Jess because she laughs so nicely. And people liking your own original work. And it's taken a long time.
All right. Well, I hope I haven't asked too many tarsy questions.
Super.
Helen Lederer's memoir, Not That I'm Bitter, is out now. Thank you very much, Helen. That's our loose ends tied up.